What's going on, good people? Happy Thursday to you. Good evening, good evening, good evening. We are back, baby. Football is back on the docket. I am excited. I am hyped. I am ready to get it on. What's up, my boy Vince? What up, my guy? Man, my guy Ralph just asked me, was I excited? I said, man, you have no earthly idea, man. I am so happy. Football is back, man. We can watch real people on a real field hitting against each other, going full tilt. No halo helmets, none of that nonsense. It's back, man. It is back, and I am so happy, dude. I am so happy. It has been so much fun trying to get through this off season. A lot of stuff going on. I switched up. Rob Povia, what's up, fam? Dibbling and dabbling into other sports. I did some stuff on Live Golf, and of course the Phillies and the Sixers, and threw a little Dame Lillard in there and all the stuff that was going on in the off season. But no more. The Birds are back. You see me rocking my Eagle Green in honor of. I hope everybody out there got their Kelly Green jerseys. Hope you guys are up at the link at 6 o'clock in the morning, or I know some people were there at like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. It was crazy, man. But I don't understand why they just didn't expect that. You know, those Kelly Greens are nice. Brian Daly, what's good, my friend? It's all good, man. Football is back, so you know I'm doing well. It's a good day to be here. You'll see me rubbernecking. Got NBC on. Shout out to my guy Sean. You guys know Sean, always wearing the paint and the shoulder pads. Everybody knows Sean, man. He reached out to me. He's at the game, so don't be surprised if you see his face paint and the shoulder pads up there. So he's already sent a couple pictures on his Facebook page, but so you won't see him in the group tonight. But man, I'm so happy that football is back, bro. Ready to rock and roll, man. It has been a good off season. It's been a long off season. Talking in circles, and you guys know my motto: the NFL is the gift that keeps on giving. And we've been here. Robert M., what's going on, dude? What it do? I appreciate you, my friend. I appreciate you. And as usual, I got 5 out the limo right off the bat. And, you know, the first 5 out the limo is always brought to you by Fan Up. Fan Up is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily Major League Baseball contests, and more. Win great prizes. Sign up today. Use the promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points, a $50 value. Go to FanUp.app on the iTunes or Android store. Do what you got to do and get with it, man. But we are here. We are ready to go. Got the broadcast on, and just ready to go, man. I'm so excited, man. And what's the first thing that happens? They brought back them Kelly Greens. Gotta represent. And you know what? Let me do this. I'm gonna step away from the camera real quick. Hold tight. Had to do this. Had to do this. I was gonna put it in the background, but had to do this. Had to show off my original. How's this? There we go. Had to show off the original. Now, mind you, if you guys notice, in a lot of my pictures, a lot of my Eagles pictures from when I played, a lot of that stuff shows me wearing number 42. Come on, get that. Wow, it doesn't want to. A lot of that stuff shows me wearing number 42. And the reason, even if you look in the media guide from the 1993 media guide, they got me listed. My number is 46. But even in the media guide, they list me as number 46. But the picture, I'm wearing number 42. And of course, the reason why they did that is because all the picks that they took were in preseason. And it was me, and there's a guy named Mike Reed. He was a cornerback from NC State. I remember that. And they, when you get to camp, you get way too many people for the amount of jerseys you got. So sometimes they double up on the numbers until, they start making cuts and stuff like that. So the first couple weeks, we both wore 42 because he was on offense and I was on defense. And then one time, I believe it was the first preseason game, we were both on kickoff coverage. And they had us standing right next to each other. And I remember the ref came over there and was like, "Coach, come on, man." So they pulled me off and put somebody else in there. And then once I made the squad, once I got my roster spot, they switched me to 46. So, Chucks, what's going on, bro? I appreciate you, man. Am I still discussing who's going to be running back number one? Yeah, no, I will not. Chucks, I will say this. Gainwell was my preference, but I knew better. But that was our last conversation. After all of the reports I've been reading and seeing about what Gainwell has been doing and what Swift has been doing, dude, it's going to be Swift. I knew it was going to be Swift. I said as much when I jumped on Birds of a Feather. If y'all don't know, check out Birds of a Feather. They come on about 9:30 after this today. So make sure you check them out. But when we had that conversation, man, I said Gainwell was my preference, but I agree with you that it was going to be Swift. But the things they tell me now, man, it looks like it's going to be Swift, bro. It looks like it's going to be Swift. And shoot, I'm jumping the gun because this is later on in my conversation, but I'll bring it up now since we're talking about running backs, Chucks. Man, I about did a backflip the other day when I saw the report that said the Eagles were practicing screen passes. I about jumped out the house, man. I was so happy. I was like, finally, somebody gets it, bringing it back to common sense. When you got a running back room like we have, you run them daggone screens, man. Do what you got to do. Use the pieces that we have and do what you got to do. It's that simple. It's not that complicated. So I am very excited because it looks like Brian Johnson is like really cranking up the common sense game. And I'm really I have silent enthusiasm, very hesitantly enthusiastic, cautious enthusiasm. I believe that's the term for it. And because I want to see it first. I want to see how it manifests in a game day when things are going on 100 miles an hour and we've got to, you got to think on the fly. So, whereas last year, even as good as Shane Steichen was, and you guys know that I'll keep bringing this up, every now and then we get into that formation where they would run that quick screen to the, to the left or to the right. They would line up in trips formation and Jalen would just throw it out there and people could sniff that out. And I was like, that's the perfect time to run a screenplay. And to be honest with you, what frustrates me in this particular situation is everybody gets all jacked up and hyped up with throwing screens and I saw one report, I believe it was by Dave Zangara, and it's like DeAndre Swift catches like a receiver. And I was like, so does Kenny Gainwell if you throw him the ball. So just getting into that train of thought and making that normal again, because I think we're going to pop some, man. And I think with Gainwell and Swift, we got a legit 1-2 punch. And then you got the power coming with Rashad Penny and Trey Sermon. I heard Trey Sermon's having a good camp too. I really hope that kid gets his shot. I really hope he gets his shot, man. It's a sucky situation to be in after everything that happened in San Fran. So I really hope he gets a shot and makes the most of it. But, it is what it is. But, as of right now, our guy, our QB1, if you guys follow me on Twitter or X or whatever the hell it is they call it, if you follow me on Twitter, you know what I said this morning. Jalen Hurts is having very quietly, he's having a stellar camp. I don't believe, as far as the reports go, he hasn't thrown a pick in camp. So you kind of take that with a grain of salt. It's good because when you listen to other people and you see what other quarterbacks are doing, I've been listening to our competition and our rivals and listening to the reports of their camps. We'll talk about that later, especially the situation in San Fran and in Dallas. But Jalen Hurts is having a very quiet, very good camp, and that's the way I want to keep it. The only time he gets in front of the mic is if somebody sticks a microphone in front of his face, like Peter King did the other day. And very interesting, I don't think he knew, or at least it seemed to me, that he didn't realize that somebody took a picture of him on the phone, and he saw the thing with the coming off the Super Bowl with the confetti in the background. You could tell he wasn't happy about that. Somebody's like invading his personal space, and I thought it was cool that he didn't talk about it. He addressed it as I'll keep that to myself because you wasn't supposed to see that. Some things should be kept in house, and somebody trying to be funny blows up in your face. But that's a good reminder that when you're in the locker room, man, you got to be careful that you don't cross that line with some people. We get in a situation, and it happens in locker rooms all the time, because you get used to seeing each other, and it is like a family. You see these people in the locker room more than you see your actual family during the season and during camp. So you build those close relationships, and even the relationships that aren't very close, you get comfortable with people. Everybody's been through a situation where you're at work, you're on a team, wherever you are, and you get those people where you know them, but you don't really know them, and they get a little bit too comfortable, and they might say something that's kind of out of pocket, and you're like, hold on, like, that's not in your arena. You don't go there because you don't know me like that. And it strikes me as a situation like that when it came to that picture. Peter King played it off. He kept it moving like he should have. I like Peter King. Don't have nothing bad to say about him, but you could see in a different guy that was performing the interview may have tried to press the issue a little bit. So props to Peter King for just letting it go and keeping it moving. So, but I thought that was very interesting because I'm curious if he knows, because it looked like that picture, they were in the meeting room. So I'm curious if he knows who actually took that picture and if he said something to him. So I got the picture that somebody crossed the line. So, but we'll see what's going on, man. But he's having a good camp. We had a little scare today because what was it? Nakobe Dean and who else was it that went to the blue tent today? It was Nakobe Dean and somebody else. I can't remember who it was. But in any case, that's why I've been saying it's like I try to curb my enthusiasm for the team right now because we have to make it to the regular season. Bradbury, thank you. Thank you, Vince. Bradbury. You got to make it to the regular season. And dang it, I meant to print that out. Somebody else got hurt today. It was another major injury today. And it's like, you got to be so very careful. Got to be careful. We get hyped and we talking smack. And I'm seeing on Twitter, some Eagles fans going up against Dallas fans. Lord Brunson, that joker him and some Dallas fan are just going at it. And you know what? It's funny when you see other people's perspective, because most of the people that deal with Eagles fans as Eagles fans just strictly on fandom. They might not be media. This is strictly fandom. They always go for the low-hanging fruit. They always go for the low-hanging fruit. They always want to go about how bad the Eagles fans are, and they'll bring up something that happened about batteries or Santa Claus or snowballs or something goofy like that. And it's like, if that's the only thing you can roll with, then you don't know what you're talking about. You're just going off the media hype and all of that kind of stuff. But they still go at it. And some of the stuff I was seeing this week from Cowboys fans, it was funny. It was funny. I got one guy that a friend of mine named Mako. I say friend, but we were on each other's podcast together. He's on a channel called Out of the Box Sports, and he's a Cowboys fan. But he's very realistic. He loves the Cowboys, but he hasn't drunk that Cowboy Kool-Aid. So he doesn't come like ignorant and stupid with it. So I can talk to him because he can talk football. Right? But some of these people, like this one guy that was online today, was bringing up, he was trying to compare Dak's rookie year with Jalen's rookie year. And his whole argument was Dak was so much better his rookie year. And it was like, of course he was. Dak had a great rookie year. But currently, it ain't been happening. And then somebody said something to the effect of, okay, y'all are 0-1 and Dak hasn't had an opportunity yet. And I had to read that one or two times because I was like, what the hell is he talking about? What he was trying to say was Jalen Hurts is 0-1 in Super Bowls, but Dak hasn't had his opportunity to play in one yet. So he was trying to compare the two, and I was like, that makes absolutely no sense. So sometimes, man, these Cowboy fans, man, they drink the Kool-Aid and everything gets amped up. Everything gets amped up. And it is so funny. It is so funny. And they want to make everything like this week I've been watching YouTubers that cover the 49ers and YouTubers that cover the Cowboys. And it is so funny. 49ers are a little bit more realistic. Cowboys fans, every little catch, every little shake by a running back, everything that happens is a just fall off your seat moment. Like folks are going crazy. Like I saw one clip, Trayvon Diggs. Now this was before the issue with Diggs and Dak. We'll get to that in a sec. But Diggs made a good play, and he came back and threw it to Deuce Vaughn, and Dak kind of lobbed it out there, so it gave Diggs a chance to catch up to the ball and knock it down. And the place went nuts. And I was like, yeah, that was a good play, but like pump your brakes a little bit. He made a good play. It wasn't necessarily a great play. And they just like a normal pass. Think of it like this. If they were warming up and just playing toss 20 yards apart, and whoever Dak's playing toss with catches the ball, the whole stadium will go nuts. That's what it looks like. They go over and beyond anything that happens, and it's like, y'all need to stop. Yo, thank you, whoever that is on Facebook. Stop it. They need to stop it because it's crazy. And the one thing that the one thing I would say with Eagles fans, the Eagles fans keep it real, man. Y'all know we keep it real. Ask Nelson Aguilar. Ask Jalen Reagor. Ask JJ Arcega-Whiteside. We keep it real. If somebody's not playing up to par, we gonna let them know. Oh, come on, Irv. Everybody intercepts Dak, even the women in this commercial. Facts. And quiet as camp, Dak hasn't had the best camp. But you take all of that stuff with a grain of salt because it's, they running on air and 707s and stuff like that. And that's why I go back to what I was saying about Jalen. Jalen keeps it low key. He keeps his head down, don't really say much. Just, it's going to get to a point where people are going to get tired of hearing these saying the standard is the standard and all of that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I'm all for it because that means he ain't chirping. He keeps his head down and he is constantly on that grind. And the reason that comes into play, now we can talk about, hold on, let me see if I can get this. I want this big. Now we can talk about the shut your bitch ass up moment. And I thought about this, and I was like, I can't ever remember, or I couldn't even see a situation like this happening to Randall. Now, mind you, I played with Wes Hop, Eric Allen, uh, Andre Waters, Seth, Byron Evans, Willie T, Clyde Simmons. The fridge was there. So we had some talkers on defense. But I don't ever remember somebody coming up and stepping to Randall like that. It just, I don't know. And that made me think about what Jalen Hurts said earlier, where he sets the temperature in the room. Because if you about the mouth and all of that kind of stuff, most people are going to follow your lead if you're doing it right. Everybody's going to jaw jack, and stuff like this happens all the time. Because I was like, I never saw this, but I checked in with some other people, a couple of my friends that played in Pittsburgh and other places, and they were like, somebody told me like Hines Ward and Big Ben used to go at like all the time because Hines Ward didn't like Big Ben. I didn't know that. But the talk is that kind of stuff happens every day. In the big scheme of things, it really wasn't a big deal. It just looked bad. It was a bad look on the Cowboys, and I thought that was funny because now with social media, y'all can see stuff and stuff gets out, gets out in the interwebs that normally back when I played, Irv, back when you played, fans didn't see. If you wasn't at practice, you would never have seen that. Never have seen that. I just saw today, I believe the dude with the Vikings, they just cut some player because he couldn't stop getting into fights. And I'm like, one of the things, if you a rookie, you are not going to catch anybody's attention constantly getting in fights because they get sick of that because that's the stuff you taking up time. Time is valuable now in the league and in camp because you got to remember, we would go up to Westchester and you got a 2.5 hour practice, full go, 2 team sessions. Or back when we was doing 2-a-days, you get up in the morning, you bang in the morning, and then you bang at night. So we were getting it in. Now they don't smash like that. So they take advantage of every minute they get. Y'all know my logic. I call them new-a-days, not 2-a-days. But this is the NFL. This is this era of the NFL. This is how they do it with the halo helmets and keeping everybody upright and all of that kind of stuff. And think about it. I joke because I'm from that era. Irv, you from that era, and we just did it differently. We the guys talking about get off my lawn. We the old guys now. But when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, they had 22 of their starters that played. Health is the biggest key to have a successful run deep into the playoffs and deep into the season. You guys have heard me say this before. Every team in the NFL is one play away from glory or ruin. From glory or ruin. I saw a video clip today. Micah Parsons came through, sacked Dak Prescott, but of course you're not going to hit the quarterback. But he tried to pull up, fell, and roll into Dak's knees. Nothing happened, but just getting to that point. If something happens, and I saw what happened to Joe Burrow the other day, nobody touched him. He just rolled out. And his calf, whatever happened, happened. Yeah, Irv, what they doing is working, man. So we can't, at least I'm not, I can't complain anymore. Because it's working. They staying healthy. They're getting what they need to do done. They're getting those mental reps in, and ultimately, that's what it's about. Because when you're on the field, I already know you can play football. Now, I will say this. For every team in the league, and I said this last year when the season started, the first team that can figure out how to tackle first is going to get the head start. Because the first 4 weeks of tackling in the league last year was god-awful. It was hot garbage. So that's a little bit they can handle that. But I just hope that, our tackling was horrible last year. It was horrendous. And we could have been a much better defense. Do y'all realize how good our defense was last year? And we missed all of those tackles. And everybody and their mama ran on us. Can you just imagine how good? That's what I keep saying. We were a great defense last year. A great defense. We should have been all time. We should have had one of the best defenses all time. We should have had one of the best. Hassan Reddick should have broke the sack record if freaking Gannon would have put him where he was supposed to put him and let that man do what he's supposed to do. It's hard to, you had to balance criticizing Gannon and then realizing how good our defense was playing. So you had to kind of, you were nitpicking. You can say it now because he's gone. And then after you saw what happened in the Super Bowl, he going to catch hellfire every time he step into the link. Every time he come to Philadelphia, he catching it. But you got to remember, how you going to complain when Hassan Reddick had, 18 sacks? How many did Milt Williams have? How many did Josh Sweat have? How many did BG have? We were balling. We just had some things that we had to clear up, and it ended up costing us at the worst possible time. But it's the same stuff here. Don't get too hot, don't get too cold, or don't get too high or low with what's going on in preseason. I am glad that Jalen Hurts hasn't thrown an interception in preseason. Because for all the reports that I'm hearing, he's more like a field general. He knows where everything is going on. He knows the answers to all the questions at every position. And that's the way it should be. He's running the meeting rooms. So that means he's in tune with everybody and everything that's going on. He knows his personnel. And that's very important. Because you can't say that about everybody. All teams don't know their personnel for whatever reason. And you got a lot of teams that are just dead set on trying to put a square peg in a round hole. It don't fit. It does not fit. I look back, go all the way back to the Chip Kelly days. And I remember when we signed DeMarco Murray. DeMarco Murray was balling in Dallas. Balling. But DeMarco Murray was a downhill runner. And then Chip Kelly tries to, gun pitches and all of that kind of stuff. Like, that's not his style. So it didn't work for him. And then that one game, they lined him up deep in ace formation, came downhill, and he went like 60 yards or something like that. And it was like, then you throw your hands up, like, why weren't you running them like that the whole time? And the one thing I can always say, you look through all of the eras of football now, right? And I always say, you look at Belichick. Hollis called him Belichick. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. He ain't wrong. He's not wrong. But you look at those coaches: Bill Parcells, Jimmy Johnson, Steinheimer. Who else can I think of? John Gruden. When Gruden was coaching. The coach that won the championship with Peyton Manning in Indy. All those coaches, man, they understood what they had, and they understood the best place to put players. You don't put somebody out of position. You don't take Hassan Reddick that had like 14 sacks the last 3 seasons and drop him back into coverage. You don't do that. You don't take Shanahan, both Shanahans, yeah. You don't take somebody and play him out of position. That's why, as much as I dislike Belichick for what he did, for cheating and stuff like that, I understood and I appreciated and respected what Belichick would do because he would bring his guys in. Edelman wasn't. Edelman comes out and is on any other team, he's cut. But you know what? They found a need for him, and they said, I need you to do one thing. One thing. And you know what? Every time he got on the field, he would do that one thing. And couldn't nobody stop it. And that's just a coach being in tune with his personnel. That is exactly why I say that. Know your personnel. Know your people. Know your personalities. I've told this story before. When I used to coach, shout out to the GT Stallions, I had a kid that was the biggest, strongest, fastest kid on the team, but he was a sweet kid. I coached, 105 pounders. So you're talking about 10, 11 years old. This kid was a sweet kid. Just had a very sweet, very nice kid, very even temperament. That is not the kid I can say, go and take his head off. That's not the kid. I need you to get to the quarterback and get that ball. I can't tell him that. Then I had another kid who was one of the smaller kids on the team. Shout out to Seth Henry if you watching, or if this gets to you. Seth was one of the smallest kids on the team, but would knock your head off. He just had that dog in him. And he was our linebacker, our starting linebacker, because he wasn't afraid to go up and hit. So knowing your personnel, know what everybody does, know what they do best. Know what they do best. And making accommodations and alterations to what you're trying to do to fit those pieces in the right place at the right time. So even as good as Shanahan is, Shanahan made that fatal mistake. When we played the Niners last year, you know good and daggone well, Hassan Reddick, here he is. He should have been Defensive Player of the Year, in my opinion. So why you would bring somebody in motion, a tight end that's not used to that type of speed? Nah. You backed yourself in the corner. We put checkmate on. So now the other half of that is, I'm sure they practiced that. I'm sure they went over that in film. But come on, man. You got to have somebody. You got to know your personnel. You got to have somebody in there that you know is going to get that block. And it didn't happen. And it cost them. So I am hoping Sirianni is that type of coach. So, Rob, I saw that. Gilchrist, I saw that. I haven't watched the whole thing, but I got to go back and watch it. Yeah. Yep. He was drafted, but he wasn't, he got to the right place at the right time and they used him the right way. That's my point. And I believe it was Edelman who ushered in the era of social media. I'm sure they didn't ask him that question. If they did, I definitely got to go watch that. But he ushered in the era of social media. I believe it was Edelman that did they talk about that on the show, Rob? Because Edelman was the guy. He was with the French chick that took a picture of him when he was asleep. I mean, lucky for him, he wasn't married or nothing, but I don't know if he had a girlfriend in the States or I don't know what his personal life was, but she put it out there. And after that, school was out. The floodgates opened. The floodgates open. I'd never forget that. I was like, oh my goodness. And nobody, before that point, I don't ever remember somebody doing that, like a fan doing that, a groupie, somebody doing something like that. I said, that is straight scandalous. And then now you go from there, and then you go and look what's going on with Zion Williamson and all of that kind of nonsense. It's like, oh my God, it is crazy. The stuff that we had to deal with, it is so different. I remember when I was in the World League in Scotland, one of my friends, one of the guys on the team was Ron Dickerson Jr. Y'all remember Ron Dickerson that used to coach at Temple, but he was part of the undefeated Miami Dolphins team. And his wife, Mrs. Dickerson, was over there, and she used to tell us some of the stories that happened back in the day, and it was off the chain. Because at that time, it was like they were rock stars. I mean, it's still like that now, but it was just a different era back then because you didn't have all of those distractions that you got now. So she used to tell us that the ladies used to break into the players' cars and go to sleep in the back seat. So when the players came to go home, there was already a lady in the back seat. Crazy stuff like that. And some other stories. Leaving babies at the doors with notes and all of that kind of stuff. A lot of that stuff did happen. And it's crazy. And then you fast forward to now, and everything you got was social media and people putting your love, people keeping receipts every time you send somebody a text. If I was coming out of college now, I would be scared to death to be in a relationship. If you didn't meet your significant other or your partner while you was in college, I would be scared to death. Because everybody's coming after you. We have to blame him for the TikTok tools. I guess you do. Ultimately, we can blame him for Twitter going to X. That's his fault. But it's crazy how things go these days. It's just, I am so glad that we didn't have to deal with that. Yeah, dude in Denver. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Going to the Twitter beefs and all of that kind of stuff when you going back and forth with people that got something to say. And it's like, back when I played, we ain't have to worry about that. If you had somebody from the Philadelphia Inquirer that wrote something about you that you didn't like, you knew you was going to see that dude in the locker room. Heck, I remember, I believe my year was I think I was in 93. I believe that was the first year that women were regulars in the locker room. And it wasn't even a lot of women because a lot of women weren't comfortable yet. And I remember like guys didn't like that at all. There was some guys that didn't care, but most of the guys that didn't, that was just the thought process at that particular time. And guys used to come out the shower because back then all the guys from the paper used to get around somebody's locker, and sometimes it would be right as somebody was getting out of the shower. So they would be sitting there, with a towel around their neck and a towel around their waist. And then when they made the NFL teams allow the ladies in the locker room, some guys were like, screw that. So they would come out the shower and take their towel off and sit down. So just the whole mindset was different. So different. You can't get away with that stuff now. Ain't no way. They run you out the league. And now you got owners that are worse than the damn players. Which is like, listen, let me find this picture. Because I put this on here for a reason. Now, here's one thing I always say. When I met Jeffrey Lurie, that's my second year in 94. We, in the preseason game, I don't even remember who we played. But after the game, it was after Lurie, had bought the team and everything. So after the game, Lurie was in the locker room. And everybody, obviously we won, but he's shaking hands with everybody that comes in the locker room. And he shook my hand and he said, "Great game, Marcus. Good job." And that always stuck with me because there was no earthly reason why Jeffrey Lurie should have known my name. No reason. But he knew his personnel. He had studied the team. He knew who everybody was. I guess he was good like that. But I always remember that. Because I wasn't Herschel. I wasn't Heath Sherman. You know what I mean? So there's no reason, in my mind at least, there was no reason he should have known who I was, but he did, which means he took the time to learn. And I'm saying that because, and now you got twat waffles that do this kind of nonsense. Jim Irsay, they need to cut his fingers off so he can't tweet no more. I've never seen so many owners, Dan Snyder, the old boy in Oakland, Davis, and Jim Irsay. I've never seen so many owners that like with the self-sabotage on their own product, on their own teams. I've never seen anything like that. But I'm saying this because this makes me and this makes us appreciate Jeffrey Lurie that much more. Because that dude is a hot mess, man. He's a hot mess. But all right, do me a favor. I'm gonna hang on this hot mess real quick. And we're gonna have our nightly commercial with Philly Sports Trips. So hold tight.
Hey, Birds fans, the NFL schedule has arrived and Philly Sports Trips has all the details now. Visit the site phillysportstrips.com. This is sure to be an epic season. Be sure to go there now to make sure that you don't get shut out. Join us in Tampa, LA, Seattle, or when we get revenge in Kansas City. Don't want to fly? No problem. Gather up your crew and hop aboard one of our signature boisterous bus trips to DC or New York. Sign up now and make sure to mention A2D. Don't miss out on the best Philly fan experience anywhere. Philly Sports Trip customers always stay at the best hotels and meet NFL legends. Book today.
Yeah, man. So I don't understand where all of these owners I guess they don't care. They don't think on that level because, I mean, let's be real. People like that have so much money they can afford not to care. They don't care what they do to people. They don't. Somebody sues him for $30 million. That's a drop in the bucket. You know what I mean? So they've always had that attitude. Literally grown up with a silver spoon. Never had to work for anything. I heard the story with Kenny the Jet Smith was telling somebody. He was on some podcast talking about one of his summer roommates was the heir to the Kohler plumbing throne. I don't know if you guys have heard this. One of his roommates was somebody in the Kohler family. Kohler, Kohler. You see it if you go in your bathroom and all of the products they sell, sinks and mirrors and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm sure you've seen it before. But anyways, he's telling the story where the kid told him, his family told him he has to be a plumber first. So he has to know the ins and out of the business. And so basically he had to start at ground level. And most people like Irsay don't even do that. So don't even do that. Philly Vlogs, are the Kelly Green jerseys sold out still? I don't know. I don't know if they got more in. I don't know what the deal is with that. I didn't get one. I'd be curious to see what they do at the alumni game. I'm going to be going to the alumni game on the 17th, so I will be there. I wonder if they will bless us with a jersey with our number on it, just like they did. I got a midnight green jersey with my name on it that Lurie gave us. I believe it was the second or third alumni when they first started doing this. They gave us all jerseys, so I still have that one in. I mean, I would love to have a Kelly Green, so let me put that in the ethos. Jeffrey Lurie, if you manage to see this podcast, it would be very nice if all of the Eagles alumni could get a jersey with their number on it and their name. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. So we'll see what happens, but it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. But back to camp, Jalen Carter has been wrecking shop. He has been as advertised as far as a rookie could be. He's doing the things. All of our Georgia rookies are just balling. All of our rookies are balling. Everybody's balling. Jalen Carter's balling. Nolan Smith seems like he's become the leader of that rookie group. You got your leaders on the team, and everybody has a leader of that particular class of rookies that come in. Sometimes it's one of the higher draft picks. A lot of times it's not, because sometimes them high draft picks ain't got a lick of sense. So it seems like Nolan Smith, uh, he's got his head screwed on straight, and he's pretty much the leader uh, of that group of rookies. But everybody's been balling. He's been balling. Nakobe Dean in his second year, it looks like he's getting acclimated quite well. And it seems like everybody is comfortable with him. I still do worry a little bit about our depth at linebacker, but for right now, I'm good. Sidney Brown got some play today in camp. Reed Blankenship, y'all know how I feel about Reed. Reed was my dude. Reed was my dude. There was no earthly reason Reed Blankenship should have been as good as he was last year, but he was. The only thing he did was get in the game, study the film, and know what his assignment was, so he didn't think about it. He knew where he's supposed to be, and he made the plays he had to make. So last year, I was a fan of Reed Blankenship. There was no reason that rookie should have been that good, but he was. Undrafted free agent, got in there, made the most out of his opportunity. And now he's a starter. He's free safety one. I'm good with that. Put Sidney Brown as strong. He can back up Maddox or whatever they decide to do out there. He's going to get his turn. But Reed Blankenship earned his spot last year, and he solidifies our defense. That is not a step down, in my opinion. I don't care what C.J. Gardner-Johnson did last year. Our defense is as good, if not better, in my opinion, right now. Now, we'll see how that pans out. I think our defensive line is going to be better. Now, it's weird that I'm saying this because I don't think we're going to have as many sacks as we did last year, unless Hassan Reddick just goes off again. And it might not be Hassan, because if that kid Nolan Smith gets out there at 4.3 speed, somebody's going to have a hard time stopping him. So I think our defense is ready, and, everybody's just playing their role and everybody's fitting in. I just think defense. I think the defense is going to be. I think they're going to be better than they were last year. They're just not going to have as many sacks. That's what I think. So, Irv, you saying that's not going to happen? What, they're going to have that many sacks, or they'll be statistically a better defense than last year? Because I think, my opinion, you guys know what I think about Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean is going to be good. Nakobe Dean is going to be as advertised. Y'all hear me say this every week. People are going to be pissed off at Jonathan Gannon for not playing Nakobe Dean last year. I think Kaiser White, and I was a Kaiser White fanatic when he came from San Diego. But towards the end of the year, he fell off, and I think they made a mistake not playing Nakobe Dean more, because when he got in, he showed out. He made tackles, he made plays, he had a nose for the ball, and that's what you need. So our defense is stout. I think we got a lot of speed. Our lineups are going to be crazy, because now you're going to have BG, Fletcher Cox, Jordan Davis, Milt Williams, Josh Sweat, Hassan Reddick, Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter. Who else am I forgetting? And not for nothing. What's the one kid's name? The Nigerian kid. What's his name? Defensive tackle. Moro Ojomo. Or is it Ojomo Moro? Moro Ojomo, yeah. I think that kid's going to be good. And of course, you already know what I think about Christian Ellis. Christian Ellis is my dark horse. And again, said this when me and Barry Brooks got together. Christian Ellis, that they're not talking about him enough. And you know what? Keep it that way. Keep it that way. I don't want nobody to know about him. But he's going to come out like a rocket. And they're going to be like, where did this kid come from? Oh, we had him last year. Well, why wasn't he playing? Christian Ellis and Nakobe Dean are going to show out. They're going to show out. So I'm looking forward to it. Our defense is going to be stacked. My only worry is I need Sean Desai to stabilize that run defense. That's it. That's it. This guy right here, Brian Johnson, man, let me tell you something. I did backflips. I said this earlier. I did backflips when I heard that the Eagles were running screens at practice. Man, let me tell you something. For us to do what we did last year and not run not one daggone screen last year, I think we threw a couple of them to Goddard, but we didn't do any running back screens. Not that I can remember. Vince, if somebody in the chat, if y'all remember differently, let me know. Let me know. But he practicing screens, and I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Because now we got a two-headed monster back there with Gainwell and Swift. Now, you guys know how I felt about Gainwell. Gainwell was the only running back coming back that was not coming off of injury. And I thought Gainwell should have been running back number one. But I knew it wasn't going to happen. That was just my personal preference. Me being a former running back, that's just how I saw it. Gainwell at the end, towards the end of the year, Gainwell was better than Sanders, ran the ball inside, tackle to tackle better than Sanders. And you know, you saw what happened in the Super Bowl. That was not Miles Sanders' best moment. And I think the way Kenny Gainwell played towards the latter half of the year, he earned it. But I understand that Swift is a bad boy, and when we get him the ball, he gonna make some things happen. And then when he's not in, is Gainwell in? Are we gonna move him around? I'm hoping that Brian Johnson is gonna take advantage of that. The mismatches we can have with Gainwell and Swift on the field at the same time, and not to mention the tight ends we got. Don't nobody talk about Grant Calcaterra enough. I like Calcaterra. I don't think he gets enough shine. Obviously, because of Dallas ain't coming off the field. Rightfully so. But Calcaterra is good. And what's the other kid's name? Tyree, is it Johnson or Jackson? I always forget. Tight ends. Oh, dang, ain't even, when did I print this out? Tight ends ain't even listed. Oh, there we go. Tyree Jackson. Yeah. Tyree Jackson is a baller. I believe he's a converted quarterback, but the kid is fast and he is big. Again, if they use him the right way. Because not for nothing, when we had J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, he didn't pan out as a good receiver. But in my opinion, they didn't use him the right way. Dude, you got Olympic DNA in your blood. You 6'3". Every time I would have thrown that kid, he'd have been like Edelman. Like, JJ, you got one job. Every time we throw you the ball, I need you to go up and get it like you dunking with two hands. That's what I would have done with J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. I don't want to send him down the field, across the middle, nothing like that. I got one job for you. You're not going to catch a pass longer than 15 yards. But when I throw it to you, you better be prepared to go up and get it. Because putting him up against a 5'10", 5'9" defensive back, and he can out-jump all of them, that's how you game plan it. That's how you use your personnel. And we didn't do that. So now we got these kids. We got Goddard. We got Calcaterra. I think Cole's, what's his name? Jack Stoll. I think Stoll might not make it. Because I think Tyree Jackson, I think is better than him. Plus, Jack Stoll wasn't a great blocker anyway. So if we're going to have a not great blocker, I say get the guy that can run the 4-4. Makes sense to me. But we'll see how that pans out. Yeah, Vince, I don't remember seeing too many screens, bro. I don't remember seeing too many screens at all. I don't even want to call that trips left, trips right, wide receiver screen. I don't even want to see that play again. I don't even want to see it again. Come up with something different. Every time I would see that play, that made me think Steichen didn't know what the hell to do. Like he ran out of ideas. And everybody and their mama knew that was coming. So no, I don't want to see that play again. Come with something different. Come with something different. I saw what I saw what worked against our defense. I saw when play action worked. I remember when Dallas kept running that damn play action with Zeke coming right underneath the tight end, and just floating underneath on the line of scrimmage, and the tight end would go the opposite way and drag everybody over there, and Zeke just kind of floated out there wide open. They killed us with that same play like 3 times. But that's not that's not a sneaky play. That's just common sense. If you got a good running back, and we do, you don't have to run RPOs all the time. You can run regular play action, and you can use your play action to set up RPOs. Because I'm telling you, people have had a whole all season to figure out how to stop Jalen Hurts running the RPO. And like I said a couple weeks ago, the easiest way to stop the RPO is to tell your defensive end to hit the quarterback. Force them to give up the ball. I know that's part of the RPOs, but you do not want to put your quarterback in danger like that. So the best way to keep that away, if you hit the quarterback, they're going to stop running it. They're either going to run the ball or they're going to drop back and pass, but they're not going to try to fake you out. Because if you stick that ball in there and you make the defensive end read, defensive end hit the quarterback, make him give up the ball. We'll take the loss, but we're going to pound the hell out that QB. That's how you stop the RPO. And we cannot put our franchise QB1 in that situation no more. Can't do it. Can't do it. That's one of the sacrifices we're going to have with Jalen Hurts. Period. Now, I will say this. I think for the way we are going to run our offense, at least the way I think we're going to run it, I think Marcus Mariota is a better option than your boy last year. I think Mariota is much better. Much better than Gardner Minshew. Because you saw as good a game as he had against Dallas in Dallas, you saw his weaknesses. He panicked a little bit. Running a quarterback sneak is just off the table. And he panicked and he couldn't scramble. So a couple times they had him really looking like Uncle Rico out there. So Marcus Mariota is a better option than Gardner Minshew is right now. I also heard Quez was looking good in camp, which is good. The whole thing with Quez got into his own head talking about that Philly didn't, think he wasn't any good no more. And I've always said this. It's not that Philly didn't think you were any good. You just did not come up in the moments. Big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games, and you didn't, period. And this year, I would like looking at Zacchaeus and Kane and Charleston Rambo. I really want to see what Charleston Rambo and Deion Kane are going to do, because me, as a veteran of the World League, I'm big on them guys that came from that other league. Give them a shot. I want to see somebody make the most of their opportunity. Now, Deion Kane should have made the team last year, and he didn't. And there was a lot of people upset about that. And then when you look at it in the big scheme of things, now they're looking at Deion Kane and we kept Quez and blah, 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 blah. Deion Kane balled out last preseason. He made the squad, and they messed him around. Wes dropped. Oh, come on, Rob. You wrong for that, dude. That's funny, but you wrong. That's funny, but you wrong. But the thing with Quez is he just didn't come up big in the big moments. He had a productive year. But now I want to see what he's going to do with that chip on his shoulder, because let's be for real. I want Quez on this team. I want the 6-foot receiver with 4.3 speed that can take the top off the defense with the chip on his shoulder. I want that dude. I want him to be wide receiver number 3. I think a lot of people don't realize how fast Quez was. Quez, I believe, was like mid 4.3. So Quez, I want to say, is probably like 4.35, 4.38 in that area. That is great speed. Elite speed is when you're sub 4.2. And you got very few people who have godlike speed in the sub 4.2s. I know there's a couple people that did like a 4.19 or something like that, which is absolutely ridiculous. Tyreek Hill didn't even run that. Tyreek Hill ran like a 4.2, 4.29, 4.31 or something like that. So, you know, but Quez Watkins has like 4.35 speed at 6 foot. I'm like, yeah, send that dude deep and let's make it happen. So, yes, one above all. You can address that. Now, see, here's an interesting thing on that. In my opinion, that's a coaching issue. That's a coaching issue because the big eye in the sky don't lie. So if he's giving up on routes and you go back in the film room and everybody in film sees you giving up on a route and you out there in the next game, I blame that on the coaches because that means the coach is not doing what he's supposed to do. That's a coaching issue. That's when you got to give somebody the business and keep it real. Right? So, but we're going to wrap this up. The one thing I did want to get into real quick. We talked about that. Talked about keeping it real. Talked about Agent Zero. I think Swift is going to be better than advertised. I won't say I'm off the Kenny Gainwell train because I think Kenny Gainwell should get a lot of touches this year. Remember, it's not about rushes, it's about touches. So he's going to get his share, but I think Swift is that dude. I think Swift is going to be good for us. But all of this has to fall under the umbrella of team health. We have to stay healthy. Lane Johnson has to stay healthy. Mailata has to stay healthy. Kelsey has to stay healthy. Jalen Hurts definitely has to stay healthy and upright. And the one thing with Jalen Hurts has proved that he can beat you over the top. He doesn't have to run so much. That's what was so frustrating about last year. He proved that he could beat you with his arm. And we got A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith on both sides. We got it all. We got the weapons. We got the tight ends. We got the running backs. We got the defensive line. We got the linebackers. We got the secondary. We got it all. All we got to do is put them pieces on the chessboard, and I need these defensive coordinators and offensive coordinators to move those pieces around the right way. So I'm going to get out of here because the Hall of Fame game is about to come on. Mike Tirico and my guys up in there, Chris Collinsworth. I know a lot of people don't like Chris Collinsworth, but me being the Cincinnati boy, Chris Collinsworth will always be that dude to me. So I'm going to get up out of here. I'm going to watch this game, and I'm going to enjoy it. And I will see you guys next week. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. You can also catch me on my YouTube channel, Pro Fan Talk. We doing double duty. I'm filtering. There's enough room for everybody to eat. So we're going to keep this moving. I will see you guys next week. Have a good one. Enjoy the games, man. Football is back, baby. I'm out. Peace.